Hello, I'm recording this from Finland. I'm currently here for a month researching their education system. If you want to know more about that, then have a look. I've done lots of blogs and vlogs, so just check it out on my website. But this video is about some behavioural management things that I have reminded myself. So it turns out when I've been asked to teach a couple of lessons whilst I'm here, and it turns out that teaching students when they don't necessarily speak your language very well, really tests your behaviour management skills. So the first example was last week. I was in an international school. Now, selecting in Finland is illegal, setting or selecting in any way, but this school is kind of selected for their level of English because it's an international school. And they had a class, a year 3 class, which is their kind of 10, 11-year-olds. And they were known as the fizzy class of the school. Now, you know, I'm a specialist in behaviour management, so absolutely hands up, I was a bit cocky and I was like, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, fine. There's only 22 of them because that's the class size here. They wanted a drama session on team building. Now, I probably taught my first drama team building lesson when I was 16. I used to run a drama school for primary school aged children. So this is the kind of thing I've been doing for however many years that is, 17, something like that. I'm 33, work it out. So I was absolutely cocky, like hands up. I just thought I'll just walk in, I'll just do my usual games that I do, my intro lesson, my standard one, it'll be fine. Ha 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 ha, oh dear. So first of all, and I think this is really important, especially for PGC trainees, NQTs, or in fact any teacher who finds themselves teaching in a room that's not theirs. Unfortunately, it happens quite a lot, I know. So already I didn't really think through the fact that I was walking into their classroom, I was walking into their environment, and they're used to being in there with a different teacher, with a different set of rules. And they're not used to doing drama, they're used to sitting at desks. So I hadn't taken any of this into account, and it really, really showed. So I introduced my stop signal, which was a tambourine, which you can do with younger ones. And my teenagers, who I use tambourines with, they really don't appreciate it. I've stopped doing that. But so I went in and I was doing the stop sign and teaching them about that. And at that point, I looked around and I was like, okay, this is actually going to be harder than I thought it was. Bearing in mind, not all the students understood everything I said. As we went along, it became very clear very quickly that that little sign that they'd showed me of not quite getting the stop signal at the start just very quickly escalated. So this is a really strong tip, I would say, is to, when you're introducing that stop signal, just literally don't go any further until it's done 100% to the standard that you want it. I kind of started going, well, I'm only here for 40 minutes. Oh, it'll do. Nope. It meant that it escalated very quickly. And we got into a session, because it's drama, where we had lots of kind of rowdy boys hanging off each other screaming, and some of the girls who were like a bit scared and nervous and at the side, you know, it kind of went up very quickly because my stop sign did not work. So I managed to rein it back in, luckily, because I have been in that situation before. But it really could have been prevented if I'd have just thought about that a little bit clearer. And the other thing that I reflected on is that I allowed them to sit in their seating where they already were within the circle. I didn't put them in their places. You know, I didn't give them a seating plan. Even in drama, you know, you can make them sit in, you know, you can make a line in an alphabet and put them in a place or whatever. So it's more random. I suggest against boy girl. It's not the best divide by gender, especially if you've got transgender students in your class, obviously. But you know, I could have done something like that, and I didn't. I was saving time. I was thinking, oh, you know, it'll be fine. And again, it just meant that escalation into disruptive behaviour just got a little bit further. Now, I did bring it back, and the students did perform at the end. And actually, we did have what I would call one success, where there was a boy who chooses to sit on his own. He actually chose to join in. He worked with some of the kids, which I hadn't seen when I'd been observing the class before. So, you know, it was okay, but I knew in myself that I hadn't done the best job I wanted to. So moving into this week with that experience, I was like, actually, I'm going to blooming get it right this time. So I got asked to teach a year 5 class, which is their kind of 14, 15-year-olds. And I was told by the teacher they were a very disruptive class. I think there were 7 different languages spoken in there. And I was teaching English to them as a foreign language, which is not my specialist subject. I'm an English teacher in England rather than EAL. So the first thing I did was find out where those students were all from, okay, and what this tip really is for any teacher with a new class, or any teacher who's kind of having a struggling bit where, you know, behaviour's slipping, is do something to find out about these students. Let them know that you're interested in them, in their education. So I went through the list of all the nationalities, so that when they entered on the board it said welcome in all those different languages. It was really, I mean, not that difficult to do, especially with Google Translate. Although it didn't seem to translate Vietnamese very well, so I need to work that one out. And then I also gave them all a piece of paper, and I didn't want them to open it at the start. So again, I wrote do not open in the various languages. So already these students haven't met me before, and they know I'm a visitor at the school, and yet they know I've taken that time to find out where they're from. And for some of these students, we are talking about Somalia, Bosnia, you know, very places with difficult histories. You know, we don't necessarily know what these students have experienced. So it's just that little sign, whatever it is for you, for those students, what could you do to show them that you know them, you're seeing them, you care about them? And then the second thing I did when they came into the classroom, and this was something I picked up from Paul Dix, you might have heard of his work. He did a training session with me when I was teacher training a few years ago. So I just very simply stood on the door, shook hands with every single student who walked in. Good morning, what's your name? Where are you from? Cilla Black. Oh, she's dead. Sorry. So just having that kind of moment, just small moment of interaction with each of them. And of course, then I knew which one was which for the nationality for the piece of paper I'd created. So then from there, it was almost as if my base had been set. You know, it wasn't my classroom, so I had done things to make it slightly different, to make it my classroom. And then I just gave them a little kind of reminder of some basic rules for me, because they didn't know me. So I said, you know, I was doing a one-off novelty, so I can do this. I just said, well, by the way, in my classrooms, this is how we are. If we're not, this happens, you know, and you can choose what that is. But just a little way not to kind of go in with a heavy, here are my 10 rules when you're only teaching them for 50 minutes. But just a little, by the way, you know, I even said, in England, you know, when I ask you to do these parts of work, that's independent, so that's quiet into yourself. If not, it will be in silence. So it's just a little reminder with a slight firm, kind of assertive tone, just a kind of little reminder so that they know the rules. So luckily, I will say that this week did go much, much better. I'm teaching again for the next couple of days, and we got some really positive word on. We got some very positive feedback from the teachers I was working for who'd asked me in. So luckily I learned, but I did want to share this video to let you know that behaviour is one of those things, and even if a teacher tells you otherwise, they're lying, that you just have to keep working at it, because you'll get it right most of the time, and then sometimes you won't, and that's absolutely fine and normal. Thank you.